Hi, this is Jackie from ESLactivity.org. Here are my top tips for teaching pronunciation to English learners. The first thing is to teach students minimal pairs. So minimal pairs are words that vary just by one letter sound. Example, bat and bet. The only difference is the vowel, the A or the E. Or pip or pit. The only difference is the end of this word with P or T. So teaching students these minimal pairs can really be helpful at differentiating the small sounds in English. The second thing I like to do with my students is repeat after me. So I know that sometimes maybe teachers feel a little bit shy about it. I often feel shy getting students to repeat after me, but it actually can be a very helpful thing, particularly if you're a native speaker. Your pronunciation is probably perfect. So getting students to repeat after you can be a helpful exercise. The next tip I have for teaching pronunciation is to focus on the shape of your mouth and get students to focus on the shapes of their mouths. So for example, pip and pit. You notice with pip, your mouth is closed. Pit, your mouth is open. So there's rules and kind of different mouth shapes for the various letter sounds in English. So if students are struggling with pronunciation, for example, the difference between a P and a T, the shape of the mouth is often the key factor. Another thing that can really help students with pronunciation is focusing on the vowel sounds in English. There's a whole bunch of rules for the double ones. Teaching students the rules explicitly can really help them with pronunciation. The next tip I have for teaching pronunciation is to focus on chunks and connected speech. So for example, nobody would really say, "I want to go to the store tonight." Instead, you'd probably say, "I want to go to the store tonight." You wouldn't write out wanna when you're writing. You would write "I want to," but when you're speaking, you would put it all together. "I want to go to the store tonight." So focusing on things like this can really help students to sound more natural. Another tip I have for teaching pronunciation is to teach contractions. Nobody would really say, "I would like to get some ice cream." You would maybe write it, "I would like to get some ice cream," but when you're speaking, you'd say, "I'd like to get some ice cream." When you speak, you almost always use contractions, so make sure to point out to students the difference between writing and spoken English in terms of contractions. All right, the last tip I have is to focus on stress and intonation, particularly on the multi-syllable words. So sometimes my experience when I was teaching in Korea is the students would be trying to say a long word, and I genuinely would have no idea what they were saying. I just was like, what? I don't understand what you're saying. And then I would say sometimes like, "Write it out, just spell it out for me." And they would write it on their paper. And I'd say, "Oh, you mean beautiful." Or it was quite a simple word, but it was not really understandable because their pronunciation or their stress or their intonation was incorrect. So point out in words and sentences where the stress should lie. All right, so those are my top tips for teaching pronunciation to English learners. If you like these activities or these ideas, please be sure to check out my book, 101 ESL Activities for Teenagers and Adults.